good evening. Thank you for spending your Monday night of Climate Week with us. Happy Climate Week. Shana Tova, happy fall. We're so excited that you're all here. Please give her another big round of applause for Broadway's Jennifer Noble. Jennifer starred in Ghost, the musical, and King Kong. She is also a dedicated food systems advocate who has been a longtime friend of Food Tank, so we're so grateful for her. And we want to thank Broadway music director Ryan Fielding Garrett, whose credits include, you know, Mean Girls, Back to the Future, very small shows. So please give them another round of applause. It's really exciting to be with all of you. So many of you are here tonight. It's really kind of blowing my mind because we get to celebrate something that's very important to my co-founder, and it's important to me too, the intersection of food and agriculture and the arts. And we get to celebrate that. Yes. And it's no surprise to anyone that this has been a really politically and socially turbulent year. And I just want to share a few things that have happened to remind us of what has happened over the last 9 months. The U.S. Agency for International Development has been dismantled and critical international food aid halted, killing thousands of people already and putting millions and millions of lives at risk. Thousands of workers at U.S. federal agencies like the U.S. Department of Agriculture have resigned or been fired, representing an immense loss of institutional knowledge and institutional infrastructure and capacity. Millions of Americans are set to lose access to nutrition benefits and health care as a result of funding cuts. And 2025 is projected to be among the top 3 hottest years on record. So again, unprecedented times, things are uncertain, things are unscary, and that's why it's so important to have the arts sort of light the way for all of us into a world of hope. Artists of all kinds help us understand environmental and social problems, and they highlight the solutions that are needed on farms, in factories, in schools, in boardrooms, and in our own homes. We have such a special night tonight, but before we dive in, I want to thank the partners who made this possible. A huge thank you to the McKnight Foundation, including Deanna Cummings, Jane Malin-Katie, Emily Hallberg, Bradley Walkinshaw, Melina Sixtos, Jack Hebert, and Molly Miles. And thanks, of course, to Tonya, who I'll introduce in a minute. Also, thanks to the Broadway Green Alliance. Give them a round of applause. I can't thank our hosts at WNYC enough, so please give a big round of applause for Ryan Wild and Chase Colvin. They're fantastic. Thanks to Great Performances, our culinary partner. They're making tonight's food and drinks so wonderful, so give them a round of applause. And I want to remind you to share your moments from the evening on social media using the hashtag Climate Week NYC. If you have any specific questions or comments, you can also email me at danielle@foodtank.com, and I will try to get back to you in real time. Bernie's checking my email constantly. He won't leave me alone. So now I'd like to introduce our partner, Tonya Allen, who is the president of the McKnight Foundation. Give her a round of applause. We're so delighted you're here. I'm wondering if you can start by telling us why it's so important to you and the McKnight Foundation to bring the arts to these conversations around climate. Can you hear me? No. Chase will fix it. Thank you.
Better? Woo. All right. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, you want me to talk? I thought you brought me up here to sing.
Oh, you can. Please.
No, you really don't want me to. That's why you have artists here tonight. So I want to say thank you, Danny, and I want to thank Food Tank for having us, and of course the Broadway Green Alliance. Isn't this just an awesome night? I'm just so excited about it. I wanted to start off by just saying, we know more than any time in history that the climate crisis is real, and it's no longer abstract. And I think that more than anything, we have to show up in these times leading with culture. We have to show up with care, and we have to show up with collective action. And this is when we believe that the performing arts, and particularly culture bearers, play a really important, vital role. They give us language to express how we're feeling, how to navigate times like this when we just don't even have words to be able to express our emotions, the complexity of what's happening in our society. They give us words to express our grief, our fear, and also our curiosity. They remind us of how to express both joy and justice, and they also they are the holders of our culture. They hold our culture. They remind us that we create culture, and that in that culture is how we actually combat the climate crisis. Yeah. And I think that is a good reminder for us as we kind of think through this, that we don't want to just address the food crisis and climate change just through science or through like a mental experiment or a science experiment, which is how we've tried to do it for so long. Right. That this is a cultural experiment. Like the only way that we are actually going to address this is if we as human beings change. I often say that, we act as if this is a earth experiment, that like we think if we do something, we will save the earth. No, the earth will be here, we won't. Right. And so we have to remind ourselves that if we want to be on this earth, then we have to change our behavior. So right. It's ultimately a cultural experiment. And so if that is true, then the best people to teach us how to change our culture is through artists and culture bearers. Right. And so why are we not listening to our artists who can help shape and help inform us? And I love this quote by Toni Morrison that I want to share with you, which is, "This is precisely the time when artists go to work. There is no time for despair, no place for self-pity, no need for silence, no room for fear. We speak, we write, we do language. This is how civilizations heal." And I think this is exactly why we bring artists into the work, because this is the time we need to heal civilization.
It totally is. Round of applause for that. I also think in this current environment, when things are so not civil, when things feel so fearful and hateful and we feel scared, there's an opportunity for the arts and artists to bring new voices who haven't thought about food and agriculture, who haven't thought about the climate crisis. And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I think so when we think about agriculture, when we think about all of our work when it comes to climate, agriculture, food, or even the economic crisis that we have going on in the country, all of this work is connected and brought together through the arts. The artists bring so many different people and so many different communities together. I like this notion of what the indigenous people have taught us. You can't separate the land from the people who steward it, and you can't separate the people from their stories. And so if that is true, and we know it's true, then that means that we have to be telling stories to bring people to the work. And so if we are sharing and using narratives, helping people understand what is at stake, right. How they connect to the work, how they can help bring their talents to the work, and how their talents will bear on the work, and how that will improve and bring different sets of outcomes to the work, then that's what we ought to be doing in order to change the trajectory of what's happening in this world. Now, we have had an opportunity to do this for many years at the McKnight Foundation. We have invested in artists for 50 years, I'm sorry. And so we've built this very rich ecosystem in Minnesota. And I'd like to say that our ecosystem per capita is as rich as New York's. And I do believe that. Like you walk through Minnesota and you can't do anything. You can't help yourself to trip over an artist. There is one there. And if they aren't one, they are about to become one, because it is such a rich place that actually believes in the power of artists. And then we have also spent 30 years working with smallholder farmers in Africa and in the high Andes. And what we've learned in that work is that you have to listen to the indigenous farmers. You have to listen to these farmers who know the land. They have been practicing and tending and stewarding the land for generations. And so when you put the magic of these farmers who have been stewarding the lands for generations, not only do they know food and food systems, they know what's happening with the climate, and they've been knowing it for a really long time. Right. They didn't need a scientist. They didn't need an experiment, because they've been tracking it. And when you put them together with artists who have been telling the stories for generations, this is how we actually know. This is the power of knowing. And then the power of knowing is through people. And so you have to use that power of knowing to tell other people. And that is what I think the power of like bringing all of this knowledge together and bringing that integration together is what I think we are trying to do at the McKnight Foundation, is to pull all of this stuff together, because none of us live our lives in silos. And so if we can pull all this work together, then we bring together the power of the human experience. And I think that's what we're trying to do, bring that human experience together and expose it to as many people as possible.
Right. Food Tank as well is all about storytelling and sharing those stories, amplifying what's working on the ground. That's why it's been such an honor to work with you. I wonder if we can end on what you're most excited for about tonight.
Well, I'm most excited about, of course, seeing all of the artists. But I'm most excited about seeing our Minnesotan artists on this stage, because you all who have not seen them are in for a treat, because they are so talented. And I think you will just see why we are so excited about their authenticity, their commitment to justice, their commitment to joy, their commitment to our planet. And I would just say, the last thing I would just offer is that I would say this, is that the McKnight Foundation is so grateful to be able to bring this event to you tonight, because we believe that our mission, which is about bringing a just, creative, and abundant future where people and planet thrive, is not something that you wish for. It is something that you manifest. And we believe that we manifest it by creating spaces like this where you bring leaders together who are about manifesting the future and holding that future. Now today, I don't know what you read on the newspaper. I didn't read it today. And I don't know what darkness you might be holding because you read the newspaper today. But what I will say is that what hope and courage is about for leaders is holding the future despite what you may hear others say and what barriers you might see. You have to hold on to what the future will be. You have to hold it despite what you hear and see. You hold on to that future and you fight for that future no matter what. And that's what the McKnight Foundation is about. And I know that's what all of you are about. We hold on to the future no matter who says that they will get in the way of the future we say that we deserve and that the people that we love and care about deserve too. And so that's what I would say to you. We will manifest the future that we deserve and that this world deserves. And so let's get on. Let's manifest that future. Let's be about it.
Thank you, Tonya. Thank you for bringing us so much hope. You can exit. Thank you so much. Please give her a round of applause.